In this episode we head further up north from Ephesus, the ancient city, towards Izmir, the large city on the coast of Turkey, halfway up towards Istanbul.
Izmir is a beautiful, large city. It's their third largest at 2.5 million people, and it's quite westernized. Konak Pier and Konak Square are one of the main attractions of the city. There's lots of shopping and dining along the waterfront, and there are ferries taking you to and from different cities. And there's also a great transportation system that is hooked up right as you exit the ferry to go to various places within the city.
So this is a little marina we found in Izmir. Some nice yachts, and we're just going to check out the facilities. Dawn, I think these forks remind me of your mum's feet.
I'm telling. Near the pier is Konak Square, where you'll find transportation and meeting places, as well as monuments.
This is the clock tower. The clock was given to Izmir by Wilhelm II, I believe. And the clock has never stopped working since 1902-ish.
This is the Turkish bowl, steel bowl, and this is the International Turkish Fair. This is the Turkish brand of beer, Efes. It's very good. It's a Pilsner. It's quite strong. About maybe 5.5, I'm guessing.
That's why you got a big one.
That's why I got a big one, because it's strong. So it's strong and big. It's better than small and weak. Again, we found lots of street dogs around Izmir. Don't seem to be owned by humans, but certainly looked after by the community. They were well fed and very happy looking dogs.
And most of them were tagged as well.
All over the place, the community sets out food and water for dogs and cats. Izmir open air market is full of fun things to see. Even tripe and sheep's heads, if that's what you want for dinner.
And the most common bread is called bunny bread because of the cross section it makes when you cut into it.
was an interesting shop we came across. It was an Islamic stuff shop that sold all kinds of things from little hats to prayer mats to beads and lots of little icon things for the Muslim religion. This is the Izmir Bazaar, and it's just got everything that you could possibly want for sale, including this over here.
For some reason, a large part of the market, as well as many shops around our hotel, were dedicated to women's wedding dresses. At the market, you could even pick up formal wear for your young boy to wear at his circumcision party.
And next to all the wedding shops is a gun shop. Who needs a shotgun wedding when you can buy a hand grenade? This place is absolutely huge. It makes the Minnesota's Mall of America look like a little corner store by comparison. And of course, real Turkish doner kebabs are available on every street or on every corner. There's a hookah.
Right here. Lots of them.
So many hookahs.
So many to choose from.
Yeah. You can have a suck on each one.
And there were swimming suits and athletic clothing for strict Muslim women. And at the end of the day, there's plenty of places to stop for a cup of chai.
I always wanted to sit down in one of these little Turkish places, drink tea, Turkish tea, very strong, very black, delicious. And the Turkish people drink apparently 15 cups of this tea every day. I can see why.
So at the end of the day, everything shuts down around Karamalti Market, and the nighttime is quite slow over there. So you have to walk to the other end of town where there is Selcek, and that is where all the nightlife is.
So this is Izmir on a Thursday night, and the social life is everyone gathers around, little groups of friends, and they have chips and beer and water and cigarettes, and they're all just socializing quietly sitting on the lawn. But there's hundreds or even 1,000 people here.
You'll see a lot of students and others sitting on the grass along the waterfront socializing. They'll bring their own food and drink, or if you're in the mood to spend more money, you can dine along the many restaurants across the street.
We're so impressed. Everyone is out all hours of the night, even in the dark. They're out in the parkways. Nobody is inside watching TV.
Everybody's asleep. by the Marina. It's taking it easy. And yeah.
Another bus going out of Izmir, and it's the best bus so far. We've even got monitors and headphones. Fancy. We really love Turkey, and it's such a beautiful country. The one thing we noticed though while driving was that many of the roads on the side were filled with garbage and trash. We did see some news programs where young people were starting programs to educate people more on keeping trash off the sides of the roads, but hopefully this increases in the future and people will take more notice to preserve all the beauty that they have.
Restaurant. I think it's a little family restaurant by the sea, and we're the only people in the restaurant.
Yes.
It's very quiet little town. The whole of Turkey is full of sweet people. The most sweet people I've ever met anywhere in the world.
Chickpea on the outside that's been molded into a shape, and on the inside is onion.
Caramelized onion. This is a smoked fish pate salad, and this is eggplant with a tomato sauce. Oh wow! You'll like it. It's got cinnamon on it. Market again, just veggies everywhere. Basically millions of tomatoes and cucumbers.
We just tried And we need to Google it because we don't know what it was for.
But it looked like a dog taking a poop.
No, that was the garbage. He was extracting the oil.
Oh, I see.
We just don't know what it's for. I told him I would Google it and come back.
He didn't know what Google was.
Yeah, he knows what Google is.
It's raining today outside our little cottage in Turkey. This is our street, and it's raining pretty heavily. And I don't think this is considered to be abnormal. This might look like flood conditions, but I think this is just the way that rain is handled in this street. And nothing else is getting wet. It's kind of cool. It's its own street level waterfall.
As we moved north, the number of bus operators exploded.
This is taxing my brain to the fullest extent possible. It's called solitaire. So once we got inland to Bursa, we found a little difference there. It was a lot more conservative and people were a little bit older perhaps. A little slower lifestyle.
As Bursa was one of the endpoints of the Silk Road, one of the main things to see in Bursa are the silk markets. The primary one being the Kozahan, where you'll find lots of silk scarves and other silk clothing.
Sweet chestnuts. So this is how they serve Turkish coffee. You get very, very strong coffee with the grounds boiled in it, which is very fresh and delicious. Like you get the grounds in the bottom half of the cup. And then this is water, which is kind of like a wash down, and then they serve it with a little shot of hardcore booze, which tastes like aniseed. And this is a wee poop of a chocolate, which is not very sweet, but kind of chocolatey.
And I went for the chai.
So this is the coffee grounds that you get in the bottom of a cup. So it's just a little under half full of grounds. You can't drink that, you could chew it, but it's really, powdery sludge. So you can't really drink it. But the coffee on top was delicious.
We're at the Great Mosque. This is one of the most recognized mosques in the world. I think they said it was number 5, even after Mecca and a couple others. It's unique in that it has 20 domes on top of it, and it's the only one of its sort that has that configuration. And I couldn't go inside. I don't have my headscarf today.
As I was poking around on the entertainment system on the bus, I stumbled across their safety video, which was a little disturbing for me.
The solitaire is not working, and I don't know what I'm going to do for 2 hours. I guess I'll have to look out the window or talk to Dawn.
Oh dear.
city in Turkey manages its own transportation system, with its own unique card as shown here. Istanbul has a good metro system that can get you pretty much anywhere. The card works for any mode of transportation within the city, which includes the metro line, the trams, the cable cars, funiculars, the bus, even the ferries, as well as restrooms. Galata Tower was the tallest building in Istanbul when it was first built in the mid-1300s. It has an observation deck on the top and was used for spotting fires, or today it's just a tourist attraction with a restaurant and a nightclub on the top. Haliç Bridge is one of the 3 bridges that connects the old town to the new town across the Golden Horn. The Haliç Bridge is unique in that it also has a metro stop right in the middle of the bridge. The Spice Bazaar and the Grand Bazaar is a must-see in Istanbul. However, if you have the opportunity to buy something in a different bazaar in a different town, we would recommend doing that. The prices were definitely higher in Istanbul, as would be expected for the largest city in Turkey. And speaking of the size of Istanbul, I didn't realize, but it is ranking between the 4th and 5th largest city in the world, depending on which ranking you look at.
Believe it or not, this is not as crazy as the Spice Bazaar.
It's bizarre, this place.
Taksim Square is considered the heart of the modern part of the city and is filled with restaurants, shops, and a long street with a wide pedestrian walking area. And on my way to Taksim Square, I was surprised to stumble upon this Catholic church built in the early 1900s. Galata Bridge is adjacent to the Haliç Bridge previously and is one of the main tourist hubs to come in and see all the sights in Old Town. In the old town, in the Hippodrome area, you'll find lots of monuments and the Blue Mosque, the Hagia Sophia, as well as the tombs of the old sultans. The Basilica Cistern is the original water delivery system to Old Town where the original sultans lived. It's 140 meters long and has over 300 marble columns. Hagia Sophia was my second favorite tourist site to see.
I have to honestly say that, in my humble opinion, Barry Manilow or the Bee Gees is better than this.
The building is almost 1,500 years old and was first a Christian church and then converted to a mosque later in the mid-1400s when Constantinople was conquered by the Ottomans. The 4 minarets were added later and were in the Ottoman style of the pencil minaret, or the thinner minaret of that region. Here the minbar and the mihrab seem off-center in the room, but it's only because they were added later to the mosque to be facing in the direction of Mecca. Evidence of the Christian church is left behind in these mosaics of Jesus Christ and Virgin Mary, which would normally not be seen in a mosque. It is rumored that when the mosque was first built 400 years ago, that it was controversial in that there were 6 minarets put on the mosque, which was the same number on Mecca. So they therefore had to add another minaret to Mecca. The total on Mecca today is 9 minarets. Topkapi Palace is the large area which was the central administration and government area for the sultans when they first came in with the Ottoman Empire in the mid-1400s. However, today you'll still find it to be the site of the holy relics and treasures and archives, which are not allowed to be photographed, so I can't show many of them here. Within these expansive grounds, you'll find lots and lots of different museums, including a ceramics museum and the Archaeological Museum as well. The Archaeological Museum covers everything from the 5th century BC up until present-day Turkey. Focusing on the Roman and Byzantine era, and also focusing on the Ottoman Empire era of the mid-1400s. These are the original conduits for the cisterns that we saw in the Basilica cistern earlier. This was the chain put across the Golden Horn to prevent from invaders by sea. And these are ancient contracts and decrees literally written in stone. My number one favorite tourist site was the Mosaic Museum. It wasn't large, it was just very interesting to see all the mosaics that they had uncovered and the work they had done to restore them. They were found mainly in the palace area, the Topkapi Palace, and taken from there for restoration. First, they had to clean the surface of the mosaics, which was discolored and deteriorated from environmental effects such as humidity, sea air, and pollution. Then they had to recreate the mosaics on a new substrate. And back across the river on the new part of town, there's plenty to see and do. Shopping was really easy. Just hopped on the metro station and groceries were easy to pick up and transport back to the hotel.
Well, sadly, that's it for Turkey. Our 3-month visas have expired and we're now leaving to head over to Greece to see what we can find touring through Greece.